Hi, and thanks for stopping by. It's late on a Thursday night, and it's April 9th, and I normally don't make videos this late at night because I'm tired, but tonight is really a critical turning point, I think, for the world pandemic that we find ourselves in. A few weeks ago, maybe in the end of or the middle of February, I wrote a narration, an essay that I didn't make into a video, but tonight I feel like it's time. I need to make this information public. And I am a senior citizen. I'm home alone. I'm cooperating with the national and state level stay-at-home policy to prevent the spread of the Covid-19 viral disease. Well, I'm going to just read this essay to you because I want to be sure that I get all the words right. So, I start out by saying why I always ask why. And this video is for conspiracy theorists only. These are my deeper thoughts on the novel coronavirus. As I sit alone in my tiny studio apartment, it leaves nothing but contemplation to fill my hours. I recall that as a child I was labeled the wiggle mouse because I couldn't sit still, before the labeling of attention deficit disorder was coined or diagnosed. But I was probably one of those. In early childhood, I was never satisfied with my dad's answer to my insistent question of why. Of his response, because I said so. I internalized my queries to find the answers for myself, and that turned out to be a motivating force in my entire life. As a teenager, my dad called me an instigator because I was involved in a multitude of activities in high school. Latin Club, Y-Teens, class play, National Honor Society, graduation committee, 10th grade picnic coordinator, senior prom committee, school paper editor, and I was also voted into the Hall of Fame as the most service to the school, which obviously I was. Well, now, I'm retired, 77 years old, and I'm in isolation. I'm consumed with investigation via the internet because that's my only social interaction, my only outlet. Only now do I realize that before the isolation, my life consisted of creative writing, entertainment via TV, investigative projects as YouTube videos, and shopping. I hate to even mention that because I'm missing that. So now that shopping is curtailed, my focus is on investigation and analysis using my complex analytic brain functioning. The result is the culmination of years of investigating conspiracy theories that began when I was exposed to my first glimpse of the universe through a telescope at the age of 14. That singular event became a lens through which I viewed all my life and activities and fears, hopes, dreams, and relationships. It expanded the horizon of thought, introspection, discovery, tolerance, faith, and the ubiquitous concepts of God, who created the universe, alien civilizations, time travel, reincarnation, multi-dimensional reality, power of the mind, out-of-body experiences as evidenced by remote viewing, channeled writing, and extrasensory perception. All my past experiences and enlightenment created in me an unquenchable desire to delve into the abyss of possibilities. So now I can be labeled as, yes, a conspiracy theorist. My dad would be happy to know that my path developed from being that wiggle mouse and instigator to conspiracy theorist. Well, today the power of the four walls closing in on me has driven me to contemplate what possible origins and what possible reason do we find ourselves in the midst of a pandemic of proportions of which we have seldom found ourselves, at least since the Spanish flu of 1918 and 19, causing 50 million deaths worldwide, and the Black Plague from 1347 to 1352, when 25 million people died. Well, several days ago, my sister asked me if there might be another reason the COVID-19 disease is spreading. Well, that really opened the Pandora's box for me. I thought my video entitled Conspiracy Theory to Top All Conspiracy Theories was the epitome of conspiracy theories, but I was wrong. Here are my latest thoughts on 7 theories to explain the COVID-19 pandemic. I was asked the question, is there another scenario that might explain where the COVID-19 disease came from? Well, in my mind, I went on to spew out 7 theories that I'll outline here. And let me say in advance, these might be considered conspiracy theories. And I say that because they are not accepted by mainstream media or the scientific community. However, that is slowly changing. Theory 1. Initially, the idea that China intentionally released a biological agent as a bioweapon. This was proposed because of the proximity of the Wuhan Research Laboratory. Now here I'm going to read to you the Wikipedia blurb about the Wuhan Virology Research Laboratory. And it starts out, coronavirus research. In 2005, a group including researchers from the Wuhan Institute of Virology published research into the origin of the SARS coronavirus, finding that China's horseshoe bats are natural reservoirs of SARS-like coronaviruses. Continuing this work over a period of years, researchers from the Institute sampled thousands of horseshoe bats in locations across China, isolating over 300 bat coronavirus sequences. In 2015, the Institute published successful research on whether a bat coronavirus could be made to infect the human genome. A team from the Institute engineered a hybrid virus combining a bat coronavirus with a SARS virus that had been adapted to grow in mice and mimic human disease. The hybrid virus was able to infect human cells. 2019 and 20, the coronavirus pandemic. This is an article that I will document below. It says 2019 and 20 coronavirus pandemic. In December 2019, cases of pneumonia associated with an unknown coronavirus were reported to health authorities in Wuhan. The Institute checked its coronavirus collection and found the new virus was 96% identical to a sample its researchers had taken from horseshoe bats in southwest China. As the virus spread worldwide, the Institute continued its investigation. In February 2020, the New York Times reported that a team led by Shi Zhengli at the Institute were the first to identify analyze, and name the genetic sequence of the novel coronavirus, now named 2019 nCoV, and uploaded it to public databases for scientists around the world to understand, and publishing papers in Nature. In February 2020, the Institute applied for a patent in China for the use of remdesivir, an experimental drug owned by Gilead Sciences, which the Institute found inhibited the virus in vitro. In a movie which also raised concerns regarding international intellectual property rights. In a statement, the Institute said it would not exercise its new Chinese patent rights if relevant foreign companies intend to contribute to the prevention and control of the China's epidemic. The Institute was rumored as a source for the 2019-20 coronavirus epidemic as a result of allegations of bioweapons research, a concept that some U.S. experts have rejected, noting that the Institute was not suitable for bioweapon research, that most countries had abandoned bioweapons as fruitless, and that there was no evidence that the virus was genetically engineered. In February 2020, a virus expert and global lead coronavirus investigator, Trevor Bedford, observed that, in quotes, "The evidence we have is the mutation in the virus are completely consistent with natural evolution," unquote. On the other hand, even before the outbreak of the pandemic, some virologists questioned whether previous experiments on creating novel coronaviruses in the lab justified the potential risk of accidental release. Well, during January and February 2020, the Institute was subject to further conspiracy theories and concerns that it was the source of the outbreak through accidental leakage, which it publicly refuted. Members of the Institute's research teams were also subject to various conspiracy theories, including Xi, who made various public statements defending the Institute, while Ebright refuted several of the conspiracy theories regarding the Wuhan virus. He told BBC China that this did not represent the possibility of the virus being completely ruled out from entering the population due to a laboratory accident. Well, whether the release or the escape of the novel coronavirus was intentional or accidental is yet to be determined. However, today, I think there's released information that will corroborate that it was an accidental leak, as much as China has refuted any responsibility. Okay, now that's theory number one. Theory number two. Well, last week I watched a video showing a clip from 2005, which I will leave the link to below, where the author recounted an interview with a whistleblower who had attended a secret society roundtable discussion in London. Now, bear in mind, this was 2005. The attendees were all British. The theory aligns with the New World Order that we have heard so much about, as well as the depopulation scenario that appears here and there. But I will insert here a chart that shows the population forecast from 2017 to 2025, published by Deagle. And I'm going to investigate more about this Deagle chart to find out what basis they make these predictions, this forecast of depopulation. Well, back to my story. After I watched the clip, I went to dig up the actual transcription of the interview with the whistleblower. In this very long transcript, the man being interviewed told of a long-term plan to take down the Chinese economic system because they were becoming a world leader in commerce and trade. The method of takedown was the introduction of a virulent virus that would be a pandemic and spread around the world after it decimated China and reduced its population and destroyed its economic base. So, that fits perfectly into what is happening today. Now, bear in mind that interview was in 2005. Well, I'll put a link to that long transcript below. It's way too long to insert here. Well, I just now found an article while searching for the identity of Deagle that astounds me as to the prediction of the novel coronavirus that we are experiencing now. And I'll put the link to that article below. And this has all to do with Bill Gates. And his name keeps coming up over and over and over again in relationship to what's going on today, to the virus, to the pandemic, to the vaccine. The fact that Bill Gates just 2 weeks ago now, or 3 weeks ago, stepped down from his position on the Microsoft Board of Directors to spend full time on his philanthropic efforts supports the theory of depopulation as outlined in this article. So, depopulation, virus. Now here is my theory number 3. Using the pandemic to cull the world's population before a known astronomical event comes our way. Some theorists postulate that an asteroid, a rogue planet like Planet X or Nibiru, or a magnitude, say, 50 XXX solar nova event, referred to as the kill shot by a famous remote viewer at Dames, who also recently ended his lecture circuit to maintain a lesser image in the public eye, and he proposed that he saw in his remote viewing a solar event that decimates at least half of the Earth. That is the half that's facing the sun when the event happens. That's the kill shot event. All that goes along with a massive solar event reduces what remains of the Earth's population to a pre-industrial society. That means a massive electromagnetic pulse will take down the power grid for at least half of the Earth. It also blasts the Earth with cosmic radiation that kills everyone in its path. It scorches the Earth and leaves it barren of plant and animal life, including humankind. All right, if that's not enough, I've got more. This is theory number 4. The 12,000-year cycle of cataclysm, as outlined in the ancient texts and hieroglyphs, shows recurrent global catastrophes that destroy the population. Floods, the instant onset of ice ages, the magnetic and geographical pole shifts, sinking and rising of continents, have been written about in fossil records and ancient cave drawings. The Mayan, the Hopi, and other indigenous peoples have known about and have been expecting this event for eons, many of whom correlate this event with the coming of gods from the sky, which leads into my scenario number 5. Alien presence in other dimensions. These are possibly waiting to see if we can survive this coming cataclysm or cataclysms. Countless evidence of UFO sightings, abductions, and communications on many planes have been documented. I believe that the governments of the world are in communication with the, what I consider, benevolent alien species in our midst, and they know about the agendas of the alien race. I personally have had such a visitation and recounted it in a YouTube video that I titled Conspiracy Theories to Top All Conspiracy Theories. And I'll link that video below also. Let me give you this hint. We are the ant farm. Use your imagination on that one. Okay, now, we're not, well, what, 2/3 there? Theory number 6. Biblical reference to Armageddon, apocalypse, tribulation, rapture, second coming of Christ, the Antichrist, all the vials, and the end time signs, the trumpets, as the 4 horsemen as outlined in the Bible. In our Western Christian society, these concepts are well defined and universally taught in many religions. Current events in the Middle East support these prophecies. So, maybe that's coming. And theory number 7. This theory is the Democratic ploy to disrupt the coming election, which is happening for sure. Whether it's intentional or not, I don't know. But my video is COVID-19, a Sinister Plot, which I posted on January 27th of this year. And that video describes the scenario of disruption of the intent of the pandemic to disrupt the presidential election. And I'll put the video link below. I think that exhausts my thoughts and ideas about possible scenarios that describe what is happening on our earth as we speak. Thank you for watching and for your continued support of my channel by subscribing and ringing that bell. And please leave your comments below. I don't care if they're yay or nay or whatever. You know, I'd like to see comments so I know you watched the video. Oh, hold the presses. It isn't over yet. Today, I stumbled across a video that correlates 5G rollout to coronavirus SARS-2, which is the official scientific name for the virus, and the ensuing pandemic of COVID-19. And let me just give you a little hint. It turns out that Wuhan, China, was the initial site of the rollout of 5G communications. And if that isn't significant enough, northern Italy, the Lombardy region, which was very severely hit by the pandemic, was Italy's area to roll out 5G. Now, I've got a third nail in the coffin. West Virginia is an area in the United States that does not allow 5G communication towers to be set up. It's like a safe zone. And as you remember, as each state in the United States was announcing that they had cases of the COVID-19 disease, do you remember which was the very last state to show that they had incidents of the virus? Yeah, it was West Virginia. What do you make of that? I don't know. Time will tell. So much food for thought. Well, I'm Nana, and I send you all my love and pray for your safety and your health, and please take all of the precautions to protect yourself and your loved ones, and wear the mask. It won't hurt, and it may do all kinds of good. If we all wear the masks, then we know we won't be spreading it. Well, God bless. I love you.